when you go to sell the business, they're not buying you, right? You're exiting the picture. So there has to be something of value left behind when you're not there. And that's what shows up in the teams, the systems and processes.
You've got to have the team around you so you can have the mindset to think.
Having that life beyond work is valuable, even if you're in the scaling process. You don't want to build a business. I don't know a single business owner that wants to build a business, put all of their time, effort, and money into doing that, and miss out on the meaningful moments of life because they were so focused on one priority and missed out on the other things that they care about, like their family and other opportunities beyond work. Hey there, entrepreneur. Welcome back to the Scale to Sell podcast for episode number 50, which is awesome. Are you ready to grow or exit? And hint, the questions that we're going to be talking about today apply to both situations. So no matter which way you're leaning, here's the core subject that you need to be thinking about related to that. Again, this is the Scale to Sell podcast where we help business owners like you build transferable value, win at work and life, and then exit on your terms, whatever that looks like for you. And I know if you're like most business owners, like this one over here, you're ready to grow or maybe exit like yesterday, right? There's a little bit of impatience. You're people of action. You want to see results. But here's the part that we have to get right first. If you're going to successfully grow your business, if you're going to successfully exit your business, we're going to talk about some of the key things that need to be in place, really the foundation of a successful scale or exit today.
No doubt. If you're going to exit, it means you got to, most cases, not all the cases, it means you have a well-run business that people desire to purchase it. You'll get multiple offers at a high offer rate. And so, but you could be profitable and you could be growing your business, but it not be ready to sell. But if you're ready to sell, it's probably profitable for you right now. And you got to have a life. Because I've been at stages in my life where I put in countless hours, making more money than I did the year before, enjoying life when I had a moment. But I was always concerned, about it going backwards, but it was all dependent on me in most cases. I was the engine, right? And we changed the processes, and so it's gotten a lot better. I've got better quality of life now. I know we're going to talk about some of those things.
Absolutely. So the key here that we're going to talk about and really build off on and even give you a special opportunity to get some questions to help you get some clarity that you need for your own life and business. The same foundation that prepares you to grow your business is the exact same foundation that makes it sellable, right? So if you're wanting to scale, you need the structure, you need the leadership, you need those key value drivers. And if you're wanting to exit, you need those same things. So a buyer, or if you're doing an internal transfer or the management buyout, that sort of a thing, they have the opportunity to kind of step in and carry that business forward. So before we talk about some of the key areas of readiness for either growth or exit, I do want to let you know we created a special assessment, just super simple, 10 questions. It's a free downloadable PDF on our website. So if you go to scaletosell.com, you can get that. Are you ready to grow or exit your business? 10 questions every owner must answer before scaling or selling. Because here's the thing, and getting to the point that you were talking about, Steve, it's easy to think about, when you're needing to exit, having a valuable business. And we've talked about it here before. If it's not transferable, you don't have that value there. You're not going to be able to sell it, right? If the business is dependent on you. But here's the thing, if you don't have these things in place, you're not really going to be ready to scale either. It's going to be crazy chaos. You're not going to get the consistent, repeatable results that you're looking for in the business. It could be an absolute disaster if you scale before you're ready to.
I had a partner, a mentor in one of my businesses back in the early 90s. And anyway, and we were growing and he goes, we need to slow down. I said, what do you mean slow down? We're really killing it right here. we're growing too fast. And Steve, too much growth will kill you just as dead as not enough growth, because we didn't have systems and people in the right place. And so we couldn't keep up. We could have taken it on, but we would have lost that growth very quickly. And it probably would have damaged the clients that we already had on the books at the time too. So absolutely.
So again, scaletosell.com. You can download the growth and exit assessment there. 10 short questions, but very helpful as you're starting to think about exactly what we're talking about here today. So again, 10 areas that we cover in the PDF. We're not going to get to all of them today just for sake of time, but introduce and kind of dive deep into some of them. The key areas of readiness. And you brought up one already. And this is at the heart of so much of what business owners face when we talk about the business, the personal, and the financial aspects of thinking about our life and business together is owner dependence. How can does your business run without you, or do you have to be present and continually in the day-to-day grind of things in order for things to get done, in order for sales to move forward, all of those things? Is it dependent on you being there? At the time of this recording, this would be about a month ago or so, we got back from our family vacation. And one of the first meetings that you had with the business owner after getting back from being gone for
almost 3 weeks.
Yeah, almost out of the office for 3 weeks. And do you remember his response?
Yeah, he says, "How could you be gone for that long?" I said, "Because I've got a well-planned out business." I said, "If you can't be gone for an extended period of time, then your business is too dependent on you." And that got his attention a little bit, got him thinking. He's been in business for well over 40 years, maybe closer to 50. His son, I think, is grooming to take over, but his son's not quite there yet. But it was just took me a little bit back, because I thought,
surely you would have something in place to be able to step away and have a system that runs without you, but it's not always the case.
In too many cases, it was mine. On vacation, I'd done radio broadcasts before from vacation, from a mountaintop in Tennessee or a cruise ship. Or
everyone stop talking.
Yeah, it's doing a live radio show. It's just insane. Or calling back daily on this, that, and the other. But, at the time, it was, I had to do it to pay the bills.
Yep.
But what we call that a lifestyle operator, where you're having to fund your lifestyle, and you can't take your foot off the gas pedal because everything could fall apart and your lifestyle goes back the other way.
Yeah. Instead of being a value creator, you're the one just kind of hustling, and the business is dependent on you, which, as we've said before, when you go to sell the business, they're not buying you, right? You're exiting the picture. So there has to be something of value left behind when you're not there. And that's what shows up in the teams, the systems and processes, the customer base that you've built, the culture, those intangible capitals that drive so much of the value of the business. That's where that shows up.
I just had a owner, and we've been working with him just a little bit of time, and he just passed away in his mid-50s. And it got most of it lined up. I wish we'd had more time, but it's not just about exiting the business, but sometimes you exit the world, you exit the planet, you exit life here on earth. And so it's these things that you should be doing, maybe in your gut, you should be doing, but you're so busy in the day-to-day, you don't take time to work on the business. You're so involved in the business. And so that's just an important. So whether you're exiting or not, you're looking to grow or just have a better quality of life, you need to take some of these steps to heart.
Well, and to your point there, we've talked about the 5 Ds before. The fact that 50% of you as business owners will face one of the 5 Ds: death, disability, distress. Why did I put myself on the spot remembering the 5 Ds? Disagreement,
divorce.
And divorce. I was like, why? But those things come up, and it's not like it's one thing to plan, to have a goal of what you're wanting to do and how you see the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But it's another thing to be prepared so that when these things come up in life, if they do, and they do for a lot of people, that you have plans in place to be able to make sure that the people that are continuing on, your family, the business, can continue to run and operate and be there for them.
Especially if it's 80% of your net worth. You put everything into the business. If you passed away, we just recently here in September celebrated Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Yep.
And you really don't think much about life insurance, whether it's term or permanent, until like recent occurrence in our country's news, whether it's somebody you know personally or somebody on the news or whatever, and they're out of here at age 31 or 55 or whatever it might be. And what happens to your business should you not just exit on your own terms? You have a heart attack, disease, hurt in an accident, and can't continue, or somebody on your team, right? So there's just so many things here. I know we're getting off track a little bit, but all these things we could go into each one of these bullet points for
so much,
probably hours.
Absolutely. So owner dependence, and one that's related to this, but I'll list it here as a separate point, is leadership and team in your relationship to them, right? For so many people, the business owner is the bottleneck of the business. The decisions have to go through them, or they have to have the input on all of these different things. And it goes back to this idea of dependence, obviously, but this issue of delegation, of how you interact with your teams and what that relationship looks like and what those roles play. Too often, the business owner's growth or exit potential is limited because they are the go-to person, the bottleneck of the business, that if they can't have their hands in that particular issue or area, or they have to have the final say in every single thing that goes on, they haven't delegated certain responsibilities and authorities, it becomes really problematic to have a scalable business because it's based on the decisions of one person all the time.
And you may be the smartest person on your biz team. You may not be. Right. And so, yes, delegation of task or whatever. If you're trying to do the books, all right, be the customer service person, be the lead salesperson. If you're trying to do everything, you're limited. You can only do so much. You need to find some people, and even though they may not be quite as capable as you are, you've got to learn to delegate right there, and people will step up. I like to micromanage until I'm assured that people can do stuff. I delegate stuff I don't want to do, all right? I don't want to do all this stuff, and you shouldn't either. You should have a team of people around you that they become like family in many cases. They're qualified. They've some cases grown into it, or you've recruited them over. You gotta have the team around you so you can have the mindset to think. Sometimes we don't even have time. You get so busy in our business, we don't have time to think about the next steps or whatever. But that's where that operations manager, the CFO or fractional CFO, or somebody's out there that has skill sets that you don't have because they've focused on one task instead of the whole company. So you need to have no doubt you need to have a team of well-trained people and reward and motivate them to step up. In most cases, they'll step up and be that valued teammate.
Yeah, just like we talk about different matrices in business where it's like things might be urgent and they might be important, and you kind of see how things fall in there. There's also the one about being proficient at something, but also its profitability. So I might be good at something, but that doesn't mean that it's the profitable situation for me to be the one doing it. And that's where oftentimes when you look at the calendar of a business owner, and this is something we talk about in some of our resources like the assessment here, is when you look at the calendar and you realize what people are spending their time on, and you think about the value or the lack of value that represents, you're missing out on some major opportunities because you're focused on small things that should be handled by someone else on the team, and you're limiting that potential. But again, owner independence, leadership, and delegation principles are there. Certainly the systems and processes that we've talked about needing to have in place, because if you're not there or other key employees are out, how do you know what to do? And again, if you're looking to exit the business, that becomes a value add because you've got everything documented. You've got the checklist, the things that people follow, the system that the buyer knows, look, we're buying a package deal that is going to be a profitable thing. They're not taking on that risk. You've already taken that risk off the table by just writing it out, by simply having those systems in place and not relying on guesswork or it all locked up in your brain and no one else knows how to do it or what to do or all of those things.
Standard operating procedures. What you as the owner, what do you do on a daily basis? Is it documented? Would somebody, if something happened to you, know what to do. Or if a new owner come in, do they know everything you do? Do they know everything your other key people do as well? But you're right, it needs to be documented.
We've talked about the strength of intangible capitals a number of times, and we've referenced it on this podcast as well. Thinking about everything from the structure of the systems that you have, the intellectual property that you've got, of course, the teams and how the skills that they bring to the table and how they function, having the right people in the right seats, having the customer base, and again, going to like the reputation of what you've built and the relationships that you have with them, and then kind of overall of that, the culture of how you interact with one another. All of those things add value. And when you measure the health, this is one of the things as studying for the Certified Exit Planning Advisor examination and test, when you look at that as a CEPA, one of the things that you do is you learn how to assess intangible capitals. And one of the things that they highlight as a part of that process is the higher your intangible capitals, the higher your value, the more ready you are for growth and for exit. And so as you're looking at the parts of your business that we've just listed out there, how strong are those things? Where are the weak points that could be holding you back and keeping you from scaling the way that you want to? Or if you're ready to exit, that could be either the thing that's going to make you best in class and get the high multiple, get the high valuation, or it could be the thing that is limiting you and could impact you from a financial standpoint.
When you think about some companies out there right now, like Google or some of these entities, their intangible value is way more than their assets, their hard assets out there. And so the world has changed from, when the Ford Motor, IBM, whoever it might be, with a lot of assets on the ground. Now intangible assets are growing. And how do you measure that? What does the marketplace say? Is it documented? Is it protected? I was on a call recently with a trademark attorney, somebody that does this. He's also a CEPA. And anyway, and so just making sure that is protected, right? We talked about knowing your value, protecting your value, growing the value, and being able to harvest it at some point in time. But 100%, it's not just your sales. It's not just your top and bottom line. It's not just your assets, your warehouses, your real estate. It's these other things that come into play to increase that value, make it more valuable to you, easier to run, and or greater at exit too.
So the last one that we're going to talk about here is probably the one that gets the least amount of attention, but is very important whether you're looking to grow or exit your business, and that's your personal readiness. So there are essentially three aspects. We've talked about the three legs of the stool often: the business, the financial, and the personal. And the personal tends to be the one that you just don't think about. Oftentimes you're so focused on what's going on in the business that you don't consider the other financial and lifestyle goals that you have, and what does life look like beyond work. But one of the things that I've taken away in conversations with business owners and the information from our Certified Exit Planning Advisor friends and colleagues there is just how important it is when it comes in the sale process, as it applies in the growth process too. But in the exit, the risk of not having a future plan is so huge when it comes to whether you're going to have a successful exit or not, right? When we take a look at the stats, and 3/4 of sales that actually do happen of businesses, the business owner a year later,
77%, yeah, but 3/4, you're right. And because they go from 60, 70, 80 hours a week to, okay, I've got a pocket full of cash, but what am I going to do now? They're bored, right? You got to have a plan. You can only golf so much. We're in Virginia. It gets cold in the wintertime. I doubt you're going to golf when it's 29 degrees around here. Maybe you will. I don't know.
Extreme pickleball. There we go.
There you go. You can play indoor pickleball. I guess that would take out the weather out of the mix. But even that, it seemed like a really just simple thing throughout there. I've told just clients, not necessarily business owners, but I told them over the past, you have to be financially ready. And that's what we're trying to do through the assessment and just seeing where you're at, current value, future value. But you have to be emotionally ready. I've told wives or husbands in some cases, don't force your spouse to retire because they could drive you crazy. Happened with my dad when he retired from the police department. He drove my mom crazy. I had went out and started another business just to let him run it for a while to get him out of the house and quit driving my mom nuts. He then got over that in about 2 years. I went back and sold the business. But you definitely have to be emotionally ready. What are you going to do the day that you're not there from, dawn till well after it gets dark at night time? When on the weekends you go away and you don't have to worry about payrolls and employee matters and customer situations, inventory and trucks, regulations. What happens when you don't have any of that on your mind?
Yeah. Part of what the CEPAs talk about, the Certified Exit Planning Advisors, when they're talking about this issue, is the number of times that sellers who don't have a plan get cold feet right at the last moment. They think they're ready to sell, and then they get to the end and they're about to do it, and then they're like, no, I'm not going to step out. I'm not going to sell the business. And again, you're adding all kinds of risk, and you could even be devaluing the business if you don't have those types of plans where you can share, like, look, this is what I've got. This is what I'm doing. I know what I'm going to do. And it creates a sense of readiness, both for you, for the company, and it gives peace of mind to the people that could be buying or taking over the business, that you're not going to pull the rug out from under them at the last minute too, which is a whole nother thing. But having that life beyond work is valuable, even if you're in the scaling process. You don't want to build a business. I don't know a single business owner that wants to build a business, put all of their time, effort, and money into doing that, and miss out on the meaningful moments of life because they were so focused on one priority and missed out on the other things that they care about, like their family and other opportunities beyond work.
No doubt, but it hits them at some point in time. It becomes when they hit burnout.
Yeah.
And then they go, and then the business is on a downslide. They're burnt out. Then it takes longer to get it. The numbers have suffered because they pulled back a bit because maybe they're wanting to enjoy life better, and they've taken the foot off the gas, and they don't have the people and processes in place.
Yep.
And now the business is worth less and less. In some cases, now if they can't go back and get the number back up, and which would normally take a year or two, I've seen that happen many cases, they can't sell because financially they're not ready. They need to harvest X number of dollars out of the business, and so now they're stuck. All right, not a good situation.
Not good. So maybe you're listening here and thinking, I don't really know where I stand in each of these different areas, but I need the clarity to be able to move forward towards the goals that I want to have for my life, for my business, whatever. I'd encourage you, go to scaletosell.com, download the assessment, 10 short questions to get the conversation started, get you thinking about the core things that you should think about, whether you're looking to grow or exit the business, things that are going to directly impact that. Again, 10 questions every owner must answer before scaling or selling, no matter what situation it is. Again, scaletosell.com, or click the link in the show notes below. It'll take you there and you'll be able to download that. Maybe you're at the point where, okay, you've got a good idea, but I don't actually know what my business is worth. I want to make this point too. Maybe you're at the point where you've got some clarity, but you don't know what the value of your business is. Scaletosell.com/value. Understand what your business is currently worth, what that dream value looks like. If you remember an interview with Jason Early, he talked about that. We've got an awesome report. Our business owner clients have been raving about the information, the accuracy of it, and from what they're seeing and what they're hoping for, but also some of the insights that it provides in that customized report based on your specific situation. Again, scaletosell.com/value. You can get more information about that free valuation opportunity there. Again, clarity is the name of the game here. Understanding what your options are, what you should be considering, and how that impacts your actions going forward to create the life and the business that you want. Steve, any last things to add before we wrap up here?
No, it's just really important that report right there shows you your current value, shows you your strengths, your weaknesses, steps we build and take into steps that can increase that value. It gives people peace of mind that if they can retire it's a good, yes, if I get that number, I'm good. Or whether it's return in 3 to 5 years, or whether you're growing a business, it's free. We do it for free at no cost to you.
Right. If you're going to grow something, you need to know what you're growing.
Know the value, to grow the value, and then protect the value. And at some point in time, harvest the value.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep scaling.